Alrighty, let's see how fast we can work our way through the weapons. So the Calvet lost 5 damage, the Whitney's been renamed to the Brown Bess Carbine, and it's lost 5 damage. The Charlie's lost 5 damage. Carbines are still shit. They have a way too long reload time. Realistically, I'd only ever use them if they had like a 5 or a 6 second reload, probably about a 5 second. Otherwise, they're completely pointless. Yeah, muskets are functionally unchanged except for the Tane and Giselle. Charlie's, Whitney's, or now Brown Bess's, Clark's and Tradesmen are all about the same as they used to be. The Charlie and the Brown Bess are doing about 60. The Clark and the Tradesmen are doing about 70. They're just the higher end versions, and the Tradesman is about rifle level accurate, but these all can mount bayonets, so they can't take scopes or any optics like that. So they are the guns you'd use a bayonet on. The Tane and Giselle both got big glow-ups. The Tane has its 15-ish second reload still. It's doing 82 damage, which means it's doing 98 to the head, which, if you don't know, is an unsurvivable headshot. You will bleed out in about 2 seconds, give or take, depending on server latency. The Giselle, as well, is up to 22.5 seconds, which is the longest it's ever been. It's a little bit higher from like when it was 20 a while back, and that's doing 82 to the body and 98 to the head. The Giselle is kind of a poor man's Tane, but the Giselle is slightly more accurate than the Tane, if I remember correctly, and both have unsurvivable headshots again. So yeah, even you won't literally die when you hit a headshot, you'll just die in like 2 seconds because you'll bleed out. There's no possible way to bandage out of a Giselle or a Tane headshot. So it's kind of like putting you on like a timer, and then you just die at the end of that timer, which is kind of funny. So yeah, Tane and Giselle are both very good right now. Now the rifles, these can all mount scopes, which make them basically like RCL level accurate. And they have a little bit of variety right now. So the Bayern's been renamed to the Jaeger rifle, the Milton's been renamed to Kentucky again, and the Reed is the Reed. The Reed is the one you want for 75 damage. That's the high damage one. That's got a 15-second reload. The Kent is at 15 seconds as well, and it's the middle of the road rifle. It's kind of shit. That's 70 damage. And the Jaeger rifle is 12.75 seconds and 70 damage. And that's basically just the one you want to use for everything. It's just it's the rifle you use when, yeah, it's just the rifle you use. If you want damage, go for the Reed. If you want speed, go for the Jaeger rifle. There's no reason to use a Kent. And then the Ferguson, we have no idea what it does. It's a dev weapon. And now in terms of blunders, the multi-shot weapons, all of these have knockback. And so if you shoot someone with it, you move backward a couple, like in-game studs, good for annoying people or pushing them off roofs or something. The Doppler has its same 10.5 second reload, doing 45 per lead ball. 2 lead balls means 90 damage, 108 to the head. If you land both lead balls, you'll headshot someone in one shot. Very nice. The Gobbler gun, the Thanksgiving exclusive weapon. You can't get it in a game now, but you can buy it on the market. 9.75 second reload, does 30 damage per lead ball. Total of 4 lead balls, 120 to the body, 144 to the head. This is the best blunderbuss. If you can get one, get one. It's very good. It's best in class. The actual blunderbuss, 11 second reload, 30 per lead ball, 5 lead balls, 150 to the body, 180 to the head. You know it, you love it, is the blunderbuss. The best one for bear hunting, the Espingole, 12.5 second reload, 40 per lead ball. You get 6 shots, which is 200 for the body, and 288 for the head. So this one is the only one that can one-shot a bear, and you have to hit the bear in the head, but if you do, you can one-shot a bear. So it's the bear hunting gun, but keep in mind it consumes 6 lead balls, which is just messy as fuck. Pistols. No pistol has knockback except the Thunder pistol, which is the last pistol. They got a bit of a glow up. The pocket pistol, which I accidentally called the pocket pickle earlier today, it does 6.75 seconds for reload and 40 damage, which is up 5 from before. The Bonnie pistol, which was an old, I think, Christmas Ducat thing from a Christmas Ducat set, doing 45 damage with an 8-second reload. The Etienne, 7.35 with 50 damage. The Dorset, 8.75 with 55. The Sharp, 9 with 55. The Holstein, 10.25 with 65. The Doglock is 9.5 with 75. The Doglock is very good. If you have a cheap primary, you can use a Doglock, and it's a very good secondary. As is the Holstein. Holstein's very good right now, too. And the Thunder pistol is the best one, but obviously you need to ensure that. 16-second reload, which is quite long. 22 per lead ball, which is 4 lead balls, which is 90 to the body, and 108 to the head. So if you have good accuracy, the Thunder pistol, I'd recommend that. Otherwise, Holstein's best in class, and Doglock or Thunder if you plan to ensure it. If you don't plan to insure it, I don't know what to tell you. You're going to lose it if you don't plan to insure it. If you do insure it, I'd recommend Doglock or Thunder Pistol. If you don't, I'd recommend Holstein. Holstein's the best in class if you're not going to touch these two. Overall, the treasure weapons are just quite good. So, yeah, go for treasure weapons in this if you want to insure anything. Otherwise, just go for the best in class that's not a treasure weapon. Melee stuff. If you see the word speed, I'm talking about the swing wind-up time, okay? So, Cutlass, basically unchanged. Saber, basically unchanged. New models, but I don't think that affects the hitbox that much. Basically, 4.75 swings, almost 5. So if you swing with a Cutlass or a Saber and you wait a second, you'll have a 5th swing. They're fast. They're the sort of default. Swords are the fast weapons right now. Swords and hatchets are the fast weapons. And then spears and the other pullouts tend to be slower. Cutlass is doing 35. Saber is doing 40. Both are a 3-hit kill, but the Saber is better. Dragoon swords get 5 swings. They're up from 4.25. They are faster than Cutlass and Saber, and they do 45 damage. So if you're not insuring, I would recommend make a bunch of Dragoon swords because they're very, very good right now. Thing with Dragoon swords, though, is they have that poke attack or the swing attack, whereas Cutlass and Saber have 2 swing attacks. The poke attack is quite shit. It now veers off to the right, kind of like a rapier when you're sprinting or whatever. It's just awkward. Yeah, it's like a rapier when you sprint. It veers off to the right. It's not aligned very well. And so keep that in mind. If you use a Dragoon sword, you have to compensate for the rightward swing on the poke attack. The same is true for the Santa sword and the Masterwork. But otherwise, Dragoon sword is best in class if you don't want to insure a weapon. The backsword is 5.75 swings, fast speed, 45 damage. Backsword's phenomenal. Falchion as well, 5.5 swings, faster speed, 45 damage. Falchion's like the fastest sword. It's also very small. The Falchion went from this big fuck-off weapon to a tiny little fucking butter knife, but it does 45 damage, and it gets 5.5 swings, and it's ridiculously fast. It's almost knife speed. But yeah, keep in mind the model and the hitbox are smaller. It's very good, though. Falchion is one of the best. It's a competitor. It's a competitor with the Masterwork, kind of, even though the Masterwork's better right now. But I would recommend a Falchion if you plan to insure a sword that's not a Masterwork. The Fire Poke gets 5.5 swings, 5.75 swings. It's very fast, and it does 25 damage. The Rapier gets 5 swings. It got up from about 4. It's very fast. It does 35 damage. So the Rapier's a 3-hit kill again. Katanas, well, yeah, 3-hit kill. Katana, we don't know. It's a dev exclusive. The Santa Sword is 4.25 swings. It's basically a Dragoon Sword that's worse. It's fast like Dragoon Sword, and it's got that weird misaligned poking attack on the right direction and 45 damage. It's literally just a worse Dragoon Sword. And then Masterwork, you know what, you love it. Everyone loves Masterwork. It's the OP sword that everyone insures. 4 swings. It's fast, not as fast as the other ones, but it does 50 damage. Everyone knows the Masterwork's the best sword. If you don't have a Masterwork, I'd recommend a Falchion. If you insure the Falchion, that is. Otherwise, I'd recommend a Dragoon Sword or a Saber. Dragoon Swords are better, but Sabers are just easy to get. So, yeah, food for thought. Hatchets are all shit. I don't know why you touch a hatchet. 4 swings. They're fast. They do like 30 damage, 70 thrown. Hatchets are basically the high throwing damage melees. The spears used to be last update because spears got a weird overhaul. They reverted the spear overhaul. So now hatchets are the high damage throwables and spears are the medium damage throwables. And those are the only weapons that can be thrown. So yeah, hatchets, I guess we'll touch them. A tribal hatchet, 4 swings, it's fast, 30 damage. Kind of shit, don't touch it. Stone hatchet, 4.75, fast, speed, 30 damage. You can throw them for 70 each. So I guess there's spammable throwables, I guess. Tribal club, it can knock back, it can ragdoll when you knock back. Or vice versa. If you throw it, you can do like knockback on it, which is kind of nice. It's fast, it gets 4.75 swings, 35 damage, so it is a 3-hit kill, 75 damage thrown, which is quite nice. The Tribal Tama, 4 swings, fast speed, 35 damage. Same with the Labrys Axe. The Labrys is quite good, actually. 4 swings, very fast speed, 45 damage, although at that point you might as well just use a Falchion and ensure that. The War Axe, 5 swings, it's fast, 40 damage. Tomahawk, 4 swings, it's fast, 35 damage. What do you expect? Axes just are. You would never use a Labrys or a War Axe, but if you did need to use a hatchet, I'd recommend one of those. They're both very good. Labrys seems to be the best one, but War Axe is quite good too. It also has the most stamina out of any axe, but it's a War Axe. You throw axes, okay? Which is why you never insure it, because someone's going to pick that shit up. And then bayonets, 3 swings, as always. They're medium speed. They do 50 damage, as always. The Wendigo Claws, 4 swings. This is a Halloween exclusive, by the way. Yeah, 4 swings, middling speed, 45 damage. They're not very good. Neither are bayonets, but they're just sort of emergency weapons. Training sword seems to do about 20 damage. I don't have one. You get one for the tutorial. Don't know. Don't care. It's not really that important. Spears. Ritual spear. All the spears, by the way, they all got reverted. So the last big weapon balance overhaul, they made the spears all really slow. They gave them all poking attacks exclusively, no more swinging attacks. And they made them all throwable, and they gave them like knockback. And so they were getting like 2 swings, 50 damage, 60 damage, 70 damage, 80 damage. It was crazy. So spears are back to normal. They're all kind of like old Great Pike, but shit. Again, spears are just bad. You'd be using, realistically, you'd want to be using a sword, I think. Spears are kind of just for range, because they don't have the unpredictability of swords. Which is why Cutlass and Saber have always been meta. So, Ritual Spear, 5 swings, middling speed, 30 damage, 50 thrown, because these can be thrown still. Long Spear, 5 swings, middling speed, 30 damage, 50 thrown. Stone Tribal Spear, identical stats, 4 swings, middling speed, 30 damage, 55 thrown. Great Pike is not back. It is not back by any stretch of the imagination. 4 swings faster than the other ones, and 35 damage. Tribal Pike, 3 swings, ridiculously slow, 80 damage, 90 thrown, and knockback. The Budding Pike, 2.75 swings, give or take, slow at speed, 80 damage, and knockback. So yeah, the 2 pikes are basically what all the spears used to be too, but now the spears are fast again. But it doesn't really matter, there's longer range hatchets, and all of them pale in comparison to swords, so whatever on the spear front. They're better than nothing, but worse than something. That's something being swords. Just use swords, guys. So axes, sledgehammer. Oh, fuck. I'll be honest. Every single axe is identical except the great axe. There's functionally no difference between most of these. Sledgehammer has knockback, but otherwise they're all very similar. So all of them have 3 swings. They're all the same slow speed. They all do about 55 to 65 damage. The only standout is the great axe. Great axe only has about 2 swings. You'll use 75% of your stamina, and then you'll have 1 more swing left over because of the weird way stamina works in this game, and then you'll have 95 damage on the great axe. So the great axe, like the Duzail and the Tane, gotta glow up. Great Axe will do an insane amount of damage, which you can heal out of, unlike the Tane and Duzail, but that is still a crazy amount of damage to do. So, yeah, the Great Axe is very, very, very good. It's gonna basically 95 damage you. It's crazy. Otherwise, the axes are all basically identical. They are the most homogeneous melees in game right now, except for the Great Axe, which is very good. And the knives, we'll touch knives because fuck it. All the knives do 20, except the spear knife, the ritual knife, the cleaver, and the kukri, which do 25. All knives get about 6 swings, which is more than most melees here. All knives are the fastest possible melee speed. So think Faucian speed, think backsword speed, and that's how fast knives are. Throwing knives get about 6 swings, do 10 damage, and they do 50 damage when you throw them into somebody. The kunai knives do 6 swings, do 15 damage, and 55 when you throw them into something. So overall thoughts, spears are kind of useless. They weren't great before, they're not great now. They sort of swapped the roles. Spears lost all their throwing damage, they lost a lot of their regular damage, but they're much faster. But again, they're just kind of longer range swords, which is kind of the point, but why not just pick a sword at that point, because spears telegraph and swords don't. Axes are all the same. The only axe that's good is the great axe. I don't think there's any good standout for the spears. Bayonet is just an emergency weapon as always. The Wendigo Claws are Wendigo Claws. They're just cute and gimmicky. We don't know what the training sword does. It's just a 20 damage weapon. Hatchets, no standouts here except the Labrys, but even Labrys has very few swings, and you'd never use it because you'd have to throw it, which you don't do for insured weapons. The swords are just the best. The Masterwork is the best melee, period, hands down. The Dragoon Sword, the Falchion, and the Rapier, and the Backsword are all close behind. Dragoon Sword's the best weapon if you don't want to ensure. Backsword, Falchion, and Rapier are phenomenal if you do want to ensure. And the Masterwork is the best weapon to ensure, full stop. So, yeah, in terms of, as always, in terms of melees, I would recommend a Masterwork, a Rapier, a Falchion, or a Backsword, or a Dragoon Sword, or a Saber. Pistols, Doglock is very good, Thunder is very good, but you'd have to ensure them. Holstein is the best if you don't ensure. Blunders, the good old-fashioned blunderbuss is perfectly fine. If you can afford it, a Gobbler gun's even better. Keep in mind you'll be ensuring that. Espangoles are good for hunting, and Dopplets are good for PvP. So, yeah, all of the multi-shot weapons are good for something. Blunderbuss is your jack of all trades, master of none. Gobblers are better blunderbuss. Espangoles for bears, and Dopplets are for players. Although, to be fair, so are Gobbler guns and blunderbusses. Rifles, The only one I'd use is probably still the Reed, even though it's got a long reload, just because I love the Reed. The Jaeger rifle's probably the best of the bunch, because it's got the fast reload of the 3. In terms of muskets, I'd probably just use a Tradesman or a Clark if you can't get a hold of Tanies and Giselles. Otherwise, the Charlie is the most easy weapon to get in-game ever, and so you can just spam Charlies if you really want to, and just buy them for like £10. And then I'd never use a carbine. But if I had to choose, I guess I'll choose a Calvet. But overall, carbines have way too long a reload still. I would need like a 5-second reload to start using carbines. If they can make rifles take like 7 extra seconds over muskets, then they can make carbines much faster than muskets. Because right now, carbines are almost the same speed as muskets, and rifles are like double the speed of muskets, so fuck that. But yeah, overall, those are my thoughts on the weapons, and that is the new Balance Pass. Thanks for watching.